Hi, everybody. Today we're going to look at the political, economic, and social structure of the subcontinent of India. Okay. Ancient India is today the countries of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. India is considered a subcontinent of Asia. That is an area of land that's surrounded on three sides by water, but the peninsula itself is very, very large. It's not like the state of Florida. The state of Florida is much, much smaller than the subcontinent. That's why they call it a subcontinent of India. Okay. Ancient India, let's talk about that. Okay. The first civilizations within ancient India sprang up along the banks of the Indus River, which is the main river going through India. Later civilizations spread to the Ganges River Valley or the Ganges River. Okay. Where does this start? The Indo-Gangetic Plain. Remember, in order to survive, you have to live on some sort of water source. And the Ganges River was just that. Economically and socially, the Ganges River was the way to be. And the Indus River Valley civilization became part of this great, incredible empire where the Indian civilization started. Okay, so in relation, again, we have to be able to compare and contrast the four old world river valley cultures. Okay, is going to be in Egypt on the Nile, all right, the Nile River. You got Mesopotamia on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Okay, you got India with the Indus and the Ganges, and you've got the Shang China, which is the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. Okay, so all these ancient civilizations are all going to exist because of these river valleys. All right, so let's talk about safety for a second. Again, geography has a place in how successful a country can be. So ancient China, India was a fairly safe place because physical barriers made invasion difficult. You've got mountains, okay? You've got mountains through here, all right, to the north of the Himalayas, and the Hindu Kush, which is right through here, surrounded on three sides by waters of the Indian Ocean. So all you really had to do is defend this area here, all right, and because, again, there's no such thing as airplanes or tanks or so forth, all right, it's relatively easy to defend off. However, it's also very easily to be isolated from the rest of the world as well. Okay, the Himalayas are the tallest mountains in the world. Okay, the tallest mountain in the world is Mount Everest. Is part of the Himalayas, and it's 29,029 feet tall. Just to give you an idea, and there are thousands of people that want to climb Everest every year because of that. Different mountain passes. All right, people did migrate into ancient India by using mountain passes in the Hindu Kush Mountains and through this area. All right, mountain passes are routes through mountains that are easier to get through or over because they're lower in elevation. That makes sense, right? So you got the Indies and the Ganges, the Indus, sorry, and the Ganges rivers, which kind of go in the two areas. Okay, again, water sources helping with survival. The rivers flooded, provided good soil for farming, and that flooding was fairly predictable, like the Egypt's Nile, and much of India's land is very low lying, meaning it floods easily. And at the time, it was good to have that flooding, and there is a monsoon season every year as well. All right, let's take a look. This is during the monsoon season, and the waters flood very, very easily, which could be catastrophic in the end too. Okay. The monsoons blow. The region's weather caused problems also. Each winter, strong winds blew dry air across the area. Each spring, the winds brought heavy rains. These seasonal winds, both the hot, dry air and moist rain, are called monsoons. All right, so no one is exactly sure how people first got to India. It's possible people came from Africa by boat or came through the Hindu Kush using the mountain passes. Earliest agricultural evidence shows people in India in 7000 BC. Okay, that's BCE, before the Common Era. Villages around the Indus by 3200 BCE. All right, so if I were to ask you, hint, hint, where is India in the world? You're going to point here. Here is India. It is a subcontinent. It's not a continent per se, like Asia or Africa or Australia. It is a subcontinent, which means it's much smaller, but it is indeed a vast country. It's one of the biggest in the world. 2500 BC, while Egyptians were building pyramids, the first major cities in India were being built. Along this Indus River was the two largest early Indian cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Those are two big cities in India in the ancient civilizations. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, large, well-planned cities. Streets and buildings laid out a grid, a fortified area called a citadel. All right, this is all brand new. Separate residential areas of town, buildings made of oven-baked bricks, sophisticated plumbing and sewage. How great is that? All right. This sewage system was very, very sophisticated. So we can tell that this was a very, very smart, sophisticated people. All right. Here's what it might have looked like. All right. Nearly every house was connected to a drainage system. Wastewater from bathing and toilet runs down clay drains into a sewer under the streets. Manhole covers give workers access just as they do today. Such technology wouldn't be seen until the 19th century. Again, very sophisticated. Their culture, the way of life. Okay? Uniform housing, not much divide between the rich and the poor. Sewage and drainage available for all. Believed cleanliness was important. Few weapons found. Probably a peaceful people. Okay, they had a strong central government as well. Because we don't know the language of the ancient Indus people, and there are few ruins to examine, we don't know what happened to them. 1750 BC, around there, the cities began to decline. Rivers may have moved. The earth may have become overworked. Maybe a natural disaster, maybe an attack or an invasion. No one seems to know. All right, here's the Aryan invasion. Just as the Indus culture was winding down, the Aryans crossed the Hindu Kush, migrated into India. They began to dominate the people. Aryans were taller, lighter skinned, spoke a different language, and people they found already living in India. All right, so here is their Aryan domination. They began to totally dominate the people they met in India. They installed a caste system to divide people into classes. Top three classes were Aryans, all right, were the Aryans. The bottom classes were native Indians. Okay. Here's the caste system. Again, you got the Brahmins, which are the priests. The Kshatriyas were the warriors. The Vaishyas were the merchants. Sudras were peasants, and untouchables were out of the caste system entirely. All right, there's another look. Okay, it influenced your entire life. Okay, determine what job you would have, determine who you would marry, determine who you'd be would be with. All right, Brahmins were not allowed to hang out with the Dalit or the untouchables. All right, different empires. 1,000 years after the first Aryans entered India, the first empire began to take shape, which was the Mauryan Empire. All right, Maurya defeated the Greek army and invaded and set up the Mauryan Empire across northern India. All right, and again, here's just a glimpse of the Mauryan Empire, and it's continued. You can take a look at that on your own. Saka. All right, here's another one. You can take a look at it on your own. He converted to Buddhism, rejected violence, ruled by moral example. So now you have a mixture of religions that are coming through. All right, spread Buddhism, provided free hospitals to citizens, created veterinary clinics. All right, and the Guptas arose as a result. The second great empire in India was formed. Gupta, no relation to the last emperor, came in a new empire in northern India, the Gupta Empire. All right, came up with different cultures. All right, math, medicine, astronomy, textiles, very sophisticated peoples.